Hello there, my name is Niklas Arson. I play with the rock band, Swedish rock band, the Hives. I'm currently sitting here in Perth with a pretty stunning view from the 21st floor of the hotel of the river and mountains, surrounding mountains.
Lucky to be there. Where I am, it's freezing, so it's nice that you're there. Nick, this is such a big deal for me. I've been a fan of the Hive since I was literally a kid. And at one point, I even wanted to name one of my children Pele. Knowing how much you guys love Australia, it's awesome that you're starting the tour here. Was that a conscious decision?
Well, it's the conscious decision is always, you say yes to a show and stuff, but
Yeah.
for now, I think it's been, we've sort of been at it since sort of the last record, really. We sort of played for such a long time now that it was just like what sort of felt like a brief gap going into this one. So it kind of feels like we're sort of both starting the record here and sort of finishing the last record here. So
That's
it's you get the best of both worlds, I'd say.
Yeah, we're lucky. And just touching more on that, you guys only recently put out your other album before this one. And before that, there was quite a gap. With the songs that are on the new album, is this content left over from the last album or is everything new?
Everything is new, apart from some small bits here and there, like a song here and there that might be like a song like Bad Call is like a song that we played before live, and also Paint a Picture is like one of those songs that we played live. And I think the sort of the main riff on a song called Roll Out the Red Carpet is we're trying to finish that one on Tyrannosaurus Hives. We were working on that riff even. So those bits, the rest is brand spanking new.
Yeah, fantastic. And with over 30 years in the game, you're still putting out records that feel explosive as ever. Is the Hives Forever the Hives a celebration of what you've built, or does it feel like another beginning?
It feels more like a beginning, I'd say, because it kind of, after I think, whatever 30 plus years of existence and, just sort of keeping on, I think we sort of just noticed that, hang on, we've been at this for, this is a forever thing, So it more feels kind of like we caught on to the fact that we were forever, And I think by now, like, we're one of those bands now that we've had, such a long career, and we've had fans, and we've had, so I think even if we quit now, people would still, remember the Hives,
100%. And you guys have been a band for so long. What's kept you guys together for that long?
Well, I think it's really just like Matt and Johan. Like Johan has been in the band now for 11 years, and before that it was Matt who played the bass, and that's really the only lineup change. But that's out of necessity. Matt couldn't tour anymore, so after that it's just I think we like doing it. That's the only real reason. I think we like doing it more than not doing it, and I think and I also think that we like doing the Hives more than not doing the Hives.
Yeah.
So I just think that's but it's also that, like, you do it in a way where you think like every record is your last, and you think you pour so much into it that you think you almost think that every tour is your last, every record is your last. But I think that's just the way of doing it that makes it more fun. Like if you had to shave off energy in order to be able to do it for longer, or like that wouldn't be fun to us. Like it has to be full on, and that's what makes it fun. Like if you go around touring, playing shows at 70% of your capacity or something, that would suck to the point where you wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So you have to pour everything into it.
Yeah, awesome. And what's one thing about the band dynamic now that would have surprised the 20-year-old version of yourself?
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same. Maybe we argue a little bit less, or maybe we don't. It's just that one thing where kind of where every argument is supposed to go, so you kind of shut your mouth a little bit more. Maybe that would have been surprising at 20 years old, but it's kind of the same. It's the band names are kind of the same, and it's just I think the only thing that would surprise us is maybe the way we look.
Oh, you guys look the same, if I'm being honest.
There you go. Thank you.
And the new album was shaped with some major names like Mike D and Josh Homme. How did working with that crew influence your guitar work or the overall creative process?
You mean my personal guitar work or the overall process?
Both.
I mean, the guitar work is really only guitar work that's supposed to go in to benefit the song. I mean, you can do guitar work and it'll be guitar work, but you can also do guitar work that's just going to be benefiting, of the song. And that's the way that we always did it. If, they're just sort of certain snippets here and there that'll just sort of tie a piece together. But that didn't really change, as far as the way that I play guitar. It's the same. It's probably more so that, they probably, usually nowadays when sort of people produce our records, they already know our band and they know, that why don't you do that thing you do?
Yeah.
More of that, So it's probably more so than just wanting, maybe wanting more of the type of, the type of playing that we already do is what they want on the record, or what we want on the record. And yeah, as a whole, I think it's like both those guys as well. They know our band and they know what we're supposed to sound like, and they just go, yeah, this is great. Release that, or hey, how about trying this, or like Mike D was more hands-on in the process. Josh was more of that. Like this sounds great. Why don't you just release it? And with Mike, it was more like, why don't we try that? Like he was actually in the studio working, so he'll go, yeah, why don't we try this? Or I made this demo, and like your song, and I think this could be cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it wasn't so much that, you guys didn't have any control over it whatsoever. You guys still really had a huge input on the album, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, we sit there in the studio all the time. It's like that's how the records are being made, and then you bring someone in.
Yeah. And Paint a Picture has been called a fan favorite for years before its official release. What was it about this track that made you hold on to it for so long, and why was now the time to unleash it?
I don't know really. I mean, it's just like certain songs need to be on certain records. Like when we make records, that we don't make a collection of songs.
Yeah.
So it has to be like, maybe it just didn't fit on the last record or something, or there were other sort of similar types of songs there. There were some fast-paced numbers. So maybe that's it. It's like when we make records, we make albums, and then it's supposed to have a certain dynamics. You listen to those sequences over and over and over and over again until you're happy with what they are.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the reason.
Beautiful. And Australia seems to have a special place in the Hive's heart. What do you personally enjoy most about being here?
Well, I like it that it's a country where there's rockers, like people come to your shows and they rock out and stuff. And it's also pretty laid back. I like that. I remember the first time we came from like a media storm in the UK, and we came here. That was in 2001, 2, I think, for New Year's, going into New Year's 2002, I think was the first time we came here. So we were like, on a sort of hype in England, and we were just doing all this press and all that stuff. And then we came to Australia, and we're like, oh, so when's press? And they were like, oh, we can book some interviews if you want to, but you don't have to. And I'm like, well, no, that's fine. So we just rented surfboards and went out trying to surf. So I mean, the weather is great, the food is great. You got mangoes. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, all that stuff is just beaches and mangoes, and all the stuff that we don't really have in Sweden. Now we got beaches, but not with the same kind of heat as you do here.
Yeah. Do you not have mangoes in Sweden?
Well, we have mangoes, but we don't have the trees. We don't have the fresh mangoes.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh dear. And do you have any memorable or wild stories from the past Australian tours that stand out to you?
I mean, there's been a bunch of them now, like the tours and stuff, and it's I mean, I don't really remember. It's always hard, you always get that question, like, what's the weirdest thing that happened to you, and what's the weirdest? But it's always like that. That's just all the time. That's just part of a normal touring day, and somebody will go, do you remember when that happened? And you go, oh yeah, that happened. But it's just like, you know, you move on, because every day is kind of like that. Like on a tour, you'll do, you know, maybe 20 or 30 shows, and then, you know, you don't remember all of it. So it's, but I mean, what I remember mostly about Australia is probably sun. You know, you come here and it's warm and it's, you know, I think that's my, it's a pretty boring answer, but I remember the sun in Australia.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I can imagine there'd be so many stories, as you said, not just from Australia as well, from so many countries. It'd be hard to just think of one on the spot.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like when they ask you about your favorite show, and you have
Yeah.
maybe 100 of those. Like, you know, so you have at least, you know, 100 amazing shows that
Yeah.
you feel like are like that's top notch, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I think maybe you could answer this one then. Do you have a favorite Hive song that you love playing that you never get sick of?
Um, I always say Main Offender.
Yeah.
Like Main Offender is like one of my favorite songs to play, but because it has that just that short little guitar intro, and then it goes into, you know, full crash mode, and I love that. Like sort of like people react to that. I love that. But then I love playing all the songs that, you know, get a reaction. You know, like Hate Start Hold is always popular, and Tick Tick Boom is popular, and like
Hmm.
all those songs that get a reaction. Those are the ones that I want to play. I don't really have any obscure material that I want to feel like I want to, you know.
Unleash.
No, it's I want to play, you know, whatever people like, and those are the
Yeah.
ones, like the ones that get, because to me it's a very sort of a, do you say reciprocal or yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Between
it's
the
a very
fans and the
yeah, reciprocal thing, you know, between you know, us and the fans, and the same thing for me when I go to shows. I think, you know, you're both part of it, which
yeah.
is such an important thing, like, you know, and that's the best part about the shows, which is why, you know, cell phone filming is fucking up music as as we know it. So the
Hmm.
shows are continuously, you know, the shows are continuously suffering from that. All the shows in the world are suffering from, you know, cell phone filming. I hate that, but
Yeah.
it's but so it's, you know, you're supposed to be able to have a reaction and, you know, have a moment between you and someone in the crowd. You know, that's what I like about it, and that's the reason why I want to play those songs. You know.
Yeah, definitely. I think it excuse my French, it fucks up the the audience as well. If they're filming, they're not really being in the moment listening to the music.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, I mean, they're complete. You know, they could just be pylons for all I care. You know, when they're filming, you know, they don't
Yeah,
really even have to be there. They can just leave their camera on a tripod and just fuck off. You know.
that's it. That's it. And the Hives were a huge part of shaping my entire musical library as a kid. Have you ever had, oh, sorry, what are some of the musical influences from you when you were a kid? And today, are there any bands that you absolutely love?
Well, there's tons of bands. It's kind of the same there. You know, like there's 100 bands that I love. You know, but
Yeah.
it's, I mean, probably the maybe the most important band for me growing up was AC/DC, because that's the first rock band that I got into. So that was like when we toured with them here, that was like a pretty big deal. You know.
Yeah.
And kind of felt a little bit like full circle. You know, am I quitting now? Like, what's
Yeah.
happening? You know, do we don't have to do
You
this
made it.
anymore,
Yeah.
or have to? You know, are we not supposed to? But yeah, I mean, they were really important to me. But then punk, you know, like was really important to me. Like most of them, sort of American punk bands, I guess. You know, like Misfits, Dead Kennedys, Bad Brains. Like all those bands were really important to me, you know, and also, you know, more current bands like sort of 90s bands like the Oblivions and the Newborn Turks. They were really important to us as well as far as our sound. 60s bands like the Sonics, you know, obviously, you know, the Stooges. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of bands, you know, that you feel like, you know, this is, you know, important stuff, you know, and also
Yeah.
bands that, you know, have inspired us, like, you know, a Kraftwerk or Devo, or, you know, a lot of the Swedish bands were really important to us too. You know, all the bands that were on our label, because, you know, you could go to, you know, there'd be all, you know, all these shows and all these festivals, like, you know, pretty much, you know, you could go twice a month in this, or you could go more than that in the summer. You know, there'd be all these small festivals, you know, where bands like, you know, Millencolin or No Fun Lowell, 59 Times the Pain, Teddy Bears, The Refused, you know, all these bands would play like in any, you know, if there was a little elevated wooden floor, you know, they'd play it, you know.
They play. Yeah.
And it was the same, like that was the same for us, you know, that's how we started, you know, like the back of a truck or something.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that was really important, you know, because it was kind of like a movement, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And how about, have you found any new artists, new bands that you're really impressed by?
Well, I mean, there's bands constantly that I think are really good. Like we have Split System supporting us here tonight. I think they're great.
Mm.
Like Emil and the Sniffers, obviously, also,
Yeah,
Australian. I love the Viagra Boys, a Swedish band. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a ton, like all the time. Like there's great bands. Swedish band called Fat Brain that I like. Like there's a ton of stuff.
yeah, wicked. That's awesome. And the new record as well was partly made at Benny Andersson's studio in Stockholm. Did the ABBA energy rub off at all on you guys, or maybe weave its way into the music in unexpected ways?
Maybe we'll see that. Maybe 40 years down the line, we'll see if they're hits like ABBA songs.
Yeah.
So maybe, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And being in a band with your brother, how is that? Do you guys like, has your respect for each other grown because you've been together for so long, or
Um, Maybe. I mean, you're part of something where you do stuff. I mean, he's great at what he's doing, and that's impressive.
yeah,
Like I know that he's a master of his trade. So
yeah,
I think, yeah. But I mean, it's also a thing that you sort of did together. So I mean,
yeah,
and it's not just him and me. There's the other members of the band as well. I mean, there is sort of a brother connection between all of us, I think. So we kind of argue as brothers do, all of us.
yeah,
Maybe mine and Pelle's arguing is a bit more harsh because you're, blood brothers. But it's, I'm impressed by all the other guys. I think they're amazing,
yeah,
at what they do. And I'm just a part, you know, putting my 2 cents in there.
yeah. Obviously, you guys all do, really respect each other, and you can work out arguments and things like that because you guys have been going for so long since you were so young as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's not really like sometimes we'll have arguments that'll go on for kind of a long time, but it's the thing that sort of binds us together is that we all want to do the hives.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
which is a good thing for us. It's the best thing we've had.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, lovely. And lastly, you're touring as special guests with My Chemical Romance next year, which is exciting for me because they're another one of my all-time favorite bands. What are you most looking forward to about hitting the road with them?
um, well, it's like doing a proper sort of stadium tour or whatever it is. I
Yeah.
think big stadiums. I don't really know. It's
Mhm.
in South America would be fun. Like any South American touring is great for us. And whenever we support bands, we usually do really well. I mean, we've been down there with the Arctic Monkeys, for instance, and it's been great every step of the way. And I think just more of that, meeting South American people, eating South American food, playing
Yes.
South American shows, playing with them, it's that'd be great.
Yeah, awesome. Niklas, thank you so much for your time today. It's been amazing getting to chat with you. Best of luck for your first Aussie show tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you
good
so
one.
much.